What's up you guys, Sunny here with GeekToolz.net and welcome to this video tutorial on how to increase your battery life for your iOS device. In this case, I have an iPhone 5. If you're like me, I love my iPhone 5. I just hate the battery life. It's just horrible. But if you follow these tips and tricks that I have to offer, you'll be able to get 2 or 3 more additional hours out of your iOS device. So just a quick note, I am using iOS 7 beta, so it does look slightly different, but these tips and tricks will work all the way down to iOS 3. So let's begin. The first thing we want to do is jump into settings, and we'll get the easier stuff out of the way. So obviously lower your brightness, we all heard this. The battery has to power a display, and this is a big consumption of power. So the lower it is, the more power you're going to get. Put it at a reasonable level. I believe halfway is pretty reasonable. The next thing we're going to do is go to the top here, and if you're not in a Wi-Fi zone, or if you're just in a cellular zone and you know you're not going to be in a Wi-Fi zone, go ahead and disable Wi-Fi. It's going to continuously search for a Wi-Fi connection, and that's going to use a lot of power. Next, go ahead and disable Bluetooth if you're not in a Bluetooth zone. Once again, Bluetooth is just like Wi-Fi. It's going to continuously search for a Bluetooth signal. The next thing we're going to do, if you have an iPhone 5 or greater, or an iPad with LTE, go ahead and disable it if you're not using it. A lot of people don't even take full advantage of the incredible speeds of LTE. So if you're not using it, disable it. It's going to save you a lot of power. The next thing I wanted to talk about is personal hotspot. Now, a lot of people don't even know what this is, and they don't even know that they have this capability. So what personal hotspot does is it creates a Wi-Fi bubble around you. And obviously that takes a lot of power because it has to power that Wi-Fi chip. So if you disable it, it's going to save you a lot of power. Going back here. Now going down, we're going to go to Notification Center. Now Notification Center has been improved in iOS 7, but it does consume a lot of power. And the reason for that is the phone is continuously checking a server to see if there's any additional notifications. So less notification in this list, the better. Notice how I disabled all of these. And a lot of these things you don't need notifications for, such as flashlight. I don't think you need notification for flashlight. Or Passbook. No one uses Passbook. Or Temple Run. What is Temple Run going to remind you about? Get running? Like things like that you don't really need, and go ahead and disable it. Now a tip that a lot of people don't actually know is just because you disable something from Notification Center doesn't mean it's disabled. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and disable Skype. I'm going to say no. Notice how Skype is not on the list anymore. And now it's in this list. But it's still going to check those servers because banners is still on. Show on lock screen is still on. It's just not in Notification Center. So what you actually have to do to fully disable this is go ahead and click on None, and also turn off everything else. A lot of people just says no, and they think that they're done. That's not the case. You have to actually physically disable everything for this to be totally out of Notification Center. And that's going to save you a lot of power. Personally, I noticed a huge increase in power because I mean, you can just see how many apps are searching those servers for notifications. The next thing I want to go into is General. And in here, there's actually quite a bit of stuff we can tweak with. So Siri does use a lot of power, so go ahead and turn that off. Especially when you're actually talking to it, it does use a cellular connection for it to work. So go ahead and disable Siri if you're not into it or not using it. Another thing is, now when you go into usage, you can, just a quick tip here, you can go ahead and enable that percentage right down here. So if you scroll down, you're going to see battery percentage. You can either enable it or disable it. You can see that I've used my phone for approximately 11 hours. I did charge it once or twice. I believe I charged it once. But you can see, even with one charge, I'm still getting 11 hours, and I still have 37% battery. So that's pretty dang good. Let's scroll down a little bit more. Make sure that your auto lock is set to a reasonable time, like 1 minute. So for example, if you suddenly unlock your phone in your pocket, or you unlocked it and you forgot to lock it again, it's going to automatically lock for you. So if you have it set it to never, or a ridiculous time like 5 minutes, you're going to waste a lot of power powering that screen up for absolutely no reason. So I think 1 minute is a reasonable time. If you scroll down a little bit more, also disable set automatically. So once again, it's going to continuously check if there's a time zone change. If you are not really moving, or if you're just being in a place stationary for a while, just go ahead and disable it. It's pointless to have that on. Let's scroll down a little bit more and see what else is there. So that's pretty much it. Nothing else down here. Jump back here. I already talked about brightness. Now going to privacy, there's actually quite a bit we can do in privacy as well. So location services is obviously a big use because it's going to be using the GPS or Wi-Fi connection to find your location. So if you could, I mean, the best way to conserve power is to just simply disable location services, but that's not really the most practical thing. So what I recommend is just going in there and disabling things that you don't really need locations to be enabled. For example, speed test or Shazam or pages, like these things, or Facebook, that these things you really don't need your location to be enabled or to use your GPS. So go ahead and disable it. You'll notice a huge increase in your battery life, especially using these location-based apps. Now obviously you want to keep Maps and Google Maps on. I mean, those are map apps and you need location for that sort of thing. Also, if you go down a little bit, let me see if there's anything else. Yes, there it is. If you go into advertising, now there's also something called location-based advertising, which is something that Apple has. So if you go ahead and disable that, that's gonna save you a couple percentage of power, so it doesn't use your location to find ads for you. I mean, that's kind of stupid, because using your power for something that you don't like, right? You want to use power for something that you do like. So other than that, there's just one more quick thing in general I did miss. If you go into About and you scroll down to the very bottom, there is diagnostics and usage, and go ahead, usually it's set to automatically send. Go ahead and select don't send. Now the reason why you do this is once a app crashes or something does happen on your phone, it sends information to Apple, and obviously that uses some of your network, but it also, that's sort of also a privacy thing. I mean, I don't think you want Apple to know what you do on your phone all day, or how many text messages you send, right? So go ahead and disable it. It's better for you and better for your battery. Also, if you go in here, whoops, that's not where I was gonna go. That option is actually not there anymore for iOS 7, so that's good. There is an option for iOS 6. If you tap on it, you can also disable compass calibration, location calibration, stuff like that. So the next thing I want to talk about is iCloud. iCloud is a fantastic service, however it's also a huge consumer of power because once again it has to go to Apple servers to continuously check for updates. So the best thing to do is try to disable as much as you can here. So for instance, I don't use reminders a lot, so I went ahead and disabled that. And once you do this for multiple items, you're going to see a significant battery improvement. And the last thing I want to talk about is mail. Now, as default, mail is set up as push. So push means when someone sends you an email, you automatically and instantaneously get that mail. And although that's a really useful feature, and for especially business people, it's just a must-have type of feature, a lot of us consumers don't really care if we get that mail right away, or if we get it an hour or 15 minutes later. And the benefit of this is, once again, these mail clients are continuously checking those mail servers to see if anything popped in. So if you go ahead and set manually a time for it, such as down here you have 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hourly, or manually even, which is the best option, so it will periodically find mail for you. So instead of checking every 10 seconds, it's going to check every 15 minutes or 30 minutes or hour. And that's going to make your iOS device, such as this iPhone here, to be a lot more energy power efficient. So the last thing I want to talk about is Facebook. Now, Facebook is a huge social network. A lot of people have it, and a lot of phones have it. And that's no exception for iOS. But the problem is, it's not treated as any app. It's actually treated as a location-based app. So why is that important? Well, location-based apps are allowed to run in the background. And that's exactly what Facebook does. It runs continuously in the background, waiting for something to happen. So if someone sent you a message, you'll notice that it pops up immediately. And I've always wondered, how does that work? And it's because Facebook is treated not as a normal app where it sits in the background silent. It's always active. And that's using a lot of your power. It's always checking those servers to see if there's an update or someone messaged you or there's a status update. So the best thing to do is either go ahead and disable Facebook notifications or delete Facebook in general. Because what I noticed is a huge increase in performance and a huge increase in battery life once I did that. So just a quick note, I know Facebook is huge, but if you do disable it, you'll notice a huge performance increase in your battery life. So that concludes this video tutorial. If you guys have any more questions or comments, please email me sunny@geektools.net. Check out the website geektools.net. Add me on my Facebook just by searching GeekTools, and my Skype once again just by searching GeekTools. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in my next video.